In this video, we're going to show you how to install the brake caliper on your Subaru Legacy located behind your front wheels. Using a 19mm thin wall socket, I'm going to go ahead, loosen and remove our lug nuts and our locking key. Go ahead and grab that wheel, remove it, and set it aside. Now we have our caliper and our bracket ready to go here. Let's go ahead and remove our bolts using a 14mm socket. Go ahead and take that caliper and set that aside with those bolts. Let's focus on the caliper bracket. Now we have our two slide pins here. We're going to start by grabbing the boot, twist and pull on the pin assembly. You can see there's a minimal amount of grease on here. It's not enough for our liking. We do want to add some to it. Not a lot, but we do want to make sure that that pin is fully coated. Go ahead and pull back on that boot, insert that pin, work that in, popping that boot back on, and give that a few twists to make sure that that grease gets all the way around inside the port. And do the same on this side here. Pull this out. You can see there's a minimal amount. We like to see a little bit more. Now if you put too much on here, it's going to want to push that pin back out and it's not going to want to seat. Pop that on there. And there we go. It's spinning around nice and freely. Go ahead and spin this up on the end. And we want to apply a little bit of silicone paste inside here. We don't want globs of it, just a thin coating. Make sure that's coated good. And grab your slider here. I'm going to line that up and push that down and on. You want to make sure that's fully seated. You can see on the side here that it fits right in perfect. Check on this side here. Now here's a note. Do not add grease to the slider here. That will only attract dirt and debris and cause your brake pads to bind up and not operate properly. So we're going to flip that over. We're going to repeat for this side here. Now that we have that seated, wipe off any grease that you might have gotten on there from your glove. I'm going to set this aside. That is ready for installation. And we have our flex hose coming over here to the back side of our caliper. There's an 11mm bolt or banjo bolt going through. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and loosen and remove this. Now we have a catch can underneath to catch the fluid. When we disconnect this, you are going to lose brake fluid, so make sure you have something to capture that fluid. Pull that line off. I'm just going to pop our little flathead screwdriver in there. Go ahead and work this off. There it is. Now what you're going to find is a copper washer on the bolt side and then one on the other side of the hose. Ours had fallen off. What we're going to do now is going to take the new bolt with a copper washer, feed that through, install the other new copper washer. We're going to take our caliper here, line this up and get that started on there. Want to make sure that that line is in that groove. And then we're going to go ahead and gently snug this down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a hook like this here to go ahead and support the caliper up off of the strut, just like so. We want to go ahead and remove our caliper here. We're going to use our 12mm socket, loosen and remove the two bolts here. Now there's a possibility that when you remove this caliper, fluid is going to come out of the hole there. So be prepared to go ahead and drop that into your catch can or your bucket. Now we're going to remove your brake pads. Just slide them between the pad and the rotor and slide those out. We now want to go ahead and remove our brake caliper bracket, and how we're going to do that is we're going to remove these two 17mm bolts here and here. On our particular vehicle, this one here has been replaced, but they should be 17mm from the factory. We can use the ratchet on the bottom. On the top, you're going to want to use a wrench. Due to the clearance of the strut bolt here, you won't be able to get a ratchet in there really, so you want to just go ahead and use a wrench on that. Now as you remove the bracket itself, the brake rotor is going to be loose and wobbling around, so be careful with that when you remove the bracket. Don't let the brake rotor fall off. And then slide that off. Take the caliper bracket and press in on that rotor, get things to line up. Now, because I'm going to be just using a wrench on this and then we'll torque it down after, I like to thread it in as far as I can by hand. I'm going to torque down our caliper bracket bolts to 88 foot-pounds. Do the same for the upper. We'll install your brake pads. Then we can bring our brake caliper down itself. I'm going to slide this over. Now as we slide this over into place, you want to pay attention to, you notice that there's large flat sections here on our pins, and these have to line up with the spots on our caliper itself. So you're going to go ahead and push this on, push those pins in so you can slip this over. And there's going to be little tabs here that actually lock into those slide pins. Once everything's lined up, go ahead and get those bolts started. Just bottom that out. Now these only get torqued down to 20 foot-pounds, pretty reasonably light. Torque down the banjo bolt to 13 foot-pounds. Now at this point here, we want to go ahead and perform a gravity bleed on your brakes. So if you have the rubber cap here on your bleeder screw, go ahead and remove that. If you don't have that there, it's not critical to the operation of the brakes. Use your 10mm box wrench. Turn that counterclockwise, and you want to purge out any air. You can see air bubbles coming out. And we want a steady stream of brake fluid coming out after all of this air is purged. So Sometimes flexing that hose will get that to burp a little bit. All right, we have a steady stream of fluid coming out now. No more air bubbles that are visually evident. Let's go ahead and snug that down. Make sure it's good and snug. Give it a spray with some spray solvent. Get rid of any of that residual brake fluid that's dribbled out here. Give it a good wipe. And we're going to install our bleeder cap. Now at this point here, you want to go ahead and repeat this process for the other side if needed. You want to hop into the vehicle, pump up the brakes until that brake pedal is firm. It could be 3 to 5 presses on that brake pedal for that brake pedal to firm up. Now for some reason, if the brake pedal feels soft and spongy after you do this, try it one more time. If it still feels soft and spongy, you want to go ahead and proceed to the vehicle brake bleeding procedure for the entire vehicle. Go ahead and take your wheel. Get that lined up on the studs. Ideally, you want to go ahead and get all of the lug nuts started by hand first, and then we'll come on back and snug them down. We just want to gently snug these. Do this in a crisscross or star pattern. Now it's good and torque them. You want to get and torque down your lug nuts to 88 foot-pounds. Ideally, you want to do this in a crisscross or star pattern. And you're all set. I'm going to go ahead and spray the top of our reservoir and clean up any of the debris that's sitting on the top with the dirt. Spray it. Go ahead and clean up around here using a little bristle brush if you have one. And open up the reservoir cap, set that aside. Now inside there's a little filter or a screen. I'm going to use my needle nose pliers. I'm going to press it down, and be careful, you don't want to puncture the screen that's in there, but I'm going to press this down and open it up, and I'm going to pull that cap out, or the screen. There it is. Set that aside. You will want to go ahead and clean this. You're going to use some spray solvent and clean that and set that aside. Now we're going to use a little container here, and I'm going to use this tool here to go down inside and vacuum out as much of that brake fluid as possible. It is a very small port that's in there, or access, and I'm not getting much out, but ideally what you want to do is take out as much of that brake fluid as possible. After you've cleaned out your screen here, you can drop that down inside, press that down. Now at this point here, we can go ahead and top off the master cylinder with some fresh brake fluid. And then we're going to install our cap. Our brake bleed procedure starts at the right rear. Next is the left rear, followed by the right front, and ending with the left front. Now starting at the right rear here, what we're going to do is we're going to use our reservoir here to capture the fluid as it comes out. Now we have someone inside the vehicle that's going to assist us in pumping up the brakes while we do this job. They're going to inform me, they're going to pump, 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 hold. Then we're going to open up the bleeder screw and purge out any air and dirty fluid that's in the system here. And we're going to continue this procedure for all 4 wheels. You may have a rubber cap here on your bleeder screw. If not, it's not that critical, but it's nice to have one. I'm going to use a 10mm wrench. And what we're going to do is we're going to just break this free just to set this up. All right, so it's, you can go ahead and loosen this. I'm going to get my hose set up on this. Okay, if you go ahead and pump that up. I'm going to open this. That's at the floor. Close it. Go ahead and pump it up. While they're holding pressure, you open up the line. They let me know it's on the floor, and then we close it. You don't want to pump it while we have this open. Go ahead again. And one more time. Actually, we're getting a good amount of air out of this one here. We're going to continue to do this until we get rid of that air here. Go ahead. Perfect. So we're all set on this one here. I'm going to snug down that bleeder screw. Purge out any of that fluid there. I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick spray with some spray solvent. Clean up any of that residual brake fluid that might be here. Put our cap on. I want to go ahead and proceed to the left rear. I want to open up the cap. I want to top off the master. Now there is a max line on the side here. You want to go ahead and fill up the reservoir too. You're going to use the appropriate brake fluid that's recommended for this vehicle according to the reservoir lid. On the right front, we're going to continue this procedure. Remove the rubber cap. Okay, pump it up. Pump it up. And one more time. Okay, no air bubbles and clean fluid. Let's go ahead and wrap it up with the left front. Let's go ahead and top this off right to that max line. Put the cap on. Now that we're done bleeding the brakes, you want to go ahead and hop into the vehicle, pump up the brakes, make sure that they feel good. For some reason, if they feel soft and spongy, go ahead and repeat this process one more time. At that point there, you want to go ahead and put your wheels on, torque down the lug nuts to 88 foot-pounds, and then take the vehicle for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.